Dreams without goals are just dreams.
Come on.
And ultimately, they fuel disappointment.
Exactly.
On the road to achieving your dreams, you must apply discipline, but more importantly, consistency, because without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish.
Ladies and gentlemen!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. We appreciate you very much watching on LinkedIn, Yahoo, Twitch, and TikTok. Appreciate that very much. And I think we are on Colonel Choate's Facebook today. Appreciate that very much. Be sure and like and subscribe, follow if you're watching right now on our YouTube channel. That definitely helps the algorithm when you interact with us. And we want to give a big shout out to our guest from last week, Dr. Larry Brandt, Chaplain, United States Marine Corps. The Navy Corps of Chaplains came on, gave some great stories. One of my favorite episodes to have, just to wax poetic with him. This right here is Bree Bagwell, and you can catch her on our back catalog wherever you get your podcasts. I usually watch them on Spotify. I like the interface, but this is Bree Bagwell, Texas Female Artist of the Decade here in Texas and host of the Only Bands podcast. You can check her out on TTV episode number 60. Big shout out to our friends over at Got Your Six Culture, www.sameflagsameoath.com. That is a veteran-owned business. Thanks, Matt. They do all of our gear for the show. I happen to not be wearing one today, my bad. And shout out to Becky Jo Art for all the great work she does. Check out Becky Jo Art today and if you want to introduce some art into your life. Love what Project Zero is doing. They got some big stuff going on, big changes. Kyle Schudick and the guys over there are really doing it real good for veterans here. They got surf fishing. They have offshore fishing available. We got some cool merch. Their call sign or their call tag, their tagline is to just get out there. So with all the things they got going on and conventional therapy as well, be sure and check out projectzero.com. Today we have a United States Air Force retired Colonel Christopher Choate. It's going to be a fun story, but I do see all the guys in the back in the green room, but let's hand it over to Matt Johnson.
Yeah. Thursday, we're back. We're here. You're here. And if you're not here, you should be here. And if there's someone you don't see that's here, you got to go get them. It's like, hey, talk to your sisters, brothers, cousins, aunts, uncle. Tell them to come on in. Welcome, everybody. Glad to be here with you again this week. Excited about our guest. I did want to mention, Ty, we just talked about Project Zero and all the stuff that they're doing. Go to their Facebook page, and they just posted that if you live in the Oklahoma City area, they're actually sending a group of veterans to go watch a minor league baseball game in a suite with tickets, food. All you got to do is go in there if you live in the Oklahoma City area, or you can get to Oklahoma City and register, and then they'll reach out and give it away. Project Zero is partnered with the minor league team up in Oklahoma City, so that's pretty cool to see. And also, they have a golf tournament coming up September the 14th. So if you're a corporation, you're trying to spend that money that you have to spend so that just like in the military, you can get it again next year, they're a perfect place to do it. So go check out Project Zero's event page and reach out to them for golf sponsorships. And other than that, it's been super crazy busy week. So glad everybody's able to join us. We'll consider this your hump day going into the weekends. And with that, we'll send it to the hero.
So another crazy day. I will say that I've got a virus. I had too much tequila yesterday, so don't ever do that. To my Mexican brethren out there, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all just drinking tequila like it ain't nothing. I had two margaritas and it put me on my ass. So I don't have a crazy rant. I am the rant for today. Don't do that. If you drink beer, stick to beer. I knew better when I ordered the second one that it was not going to do well. And I did not do well at all. So tequila is not my friend. So, and I was drinking top shelf tequila before anybody said anything, like good stuff. I wasn't like, I was like, I want mine poured with, I wasn't using like Jose Cuervo. Like I want the good stuff. And it did not agree, did not like me at all. This morning was a rough morning. So yeah, don't do tequila. Stay away from it. It's the devil. It's the devil, bro. It's bad, Matt.
Is it the devil, or you just started a straight white boy in Florida and you shouldn't be drinking tequila? You should have just stuck with bourbon, dude.
I knew it. You tell yourself, like, I go to dinner. I normally drink a beer or two at dinner. Like, no big deal. Like, stick to what you know. And I was like, you know what?
When in a Mexican restaurant,
I'm going to deviate. I want the El Presidente, biggest one you got. Like, let me get that. And not only let me get that, let me get 2 of those.
So that's the thing that Becky can actually take you to town on, dude. She'd be drinking the shit out of the margaritas, bro.
Well, I don't know who was making the margaritas at this place, but I think they were mad at the world. They were like, fuck it, we're not using any mix. We're just ice and tequila. That's what it tasted like, bro. It tasted like I was drinking straight tequila out of a straw.
We also got margarita in Florida in a Mexican restaurant. So to be fair, we're just going to have to try those margaritas in Texas and see if they make them any better down here.
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that on a different night. Like, not when I come down this time, because I'm going to have to get up and be functioning the next day. So
not on Thursday. You're coming in Thursday. You can drink plenty of margaritas on Thursday. You don't have to cook till Saturday.
Sounds like a plan.
There you go. Don't take that joy away from me.
Joy away from me, yeah, bro. September is right around the corner, fellas. We're getting there.
Yep.
So I'm excited to talk to our guests. It's rare that we get to talk to the second best pilots in the United States military. Super excited to have. Normally we've had some of the world's greatest pilots on, the best pilots, the Navy pilots, but it's always good to talk to the second best and see how their world is. The second rate pilots, what they do. It's always
second rate even. Oh, very nice.
It's second best. Right. So, and then Army would be third, and then I don't know, maybe Marine Corps, but Air Force definitely number 2 in my book. They don't land on.
Throw up the disclaimer. The views of this host are not the same views as the rest of the show, and does not really follow.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's right.
Yeah, but let me before we bring him on there, let me read his bio real quick. Coyote, that's his call sign, is a decorated retired United Air Force colonel with an extraordinary career spanning 4 decades of military and civilian federal service, with a distinguished background in military aviation and strategic planning. A seasoned weapons system officer, he flew both the legendary F-4 Phantom and the advanced F-15E Strike Eagle, embodying the precision and expertise that define the tactical air forces of the United States. In his post-military life, Coyote remains a dynamic and driven, and during his service years, an avid long-distance runner. He's completed over 10 marathons and 50 half marathons, along with his wife of 42 years. He embraces travel and cherishes moments with 2 grown sons and daughter-in-law. With a touch of humor, he admits spending the children's inheritance on cruise ship bound for tropical and warm destinations. As an author, Coyote brings his wealth of military and strategic experience to his current literary pursuits. His writing is characterized by a direct, incisive style punctuated with dry humor and satirical wit. I love that. With a passionate commitment to critiquing contemporary social dynamics, I like that too. He writes with the goal of challenging what he perceives as ideological trends threatening Western culture foundations. His work is marked by a provocative examination of societal shifts, delivering commentary with the same strategic precision he once applied to military officers. So, as Al would say, I am definitely going to nerd out and listen to this guy.
Those are some big ass words you just said. You said a lot of big words. And
I didn't write that. That's his bio, but I read it.
He writes books now. And he can speak the English language. So,
man, hey, I'm not hating on that. That was some big words. All I heard was,
did you write some down so you can use them at work tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna use some of those. I'm gonna Google some. I'm gonna write them down. I'm gonna learn the definitions, and I'm gonna start using that shit with April. I'm gonna be like, first of all, satirical rhetorical. I'm gonna use. I don't know how. I'm gonna find a way to use that in a sentence with her.
And then she's gonna go, "You're an idiot." You're like, "Not really. I just used a really big word. So who's the idiot now?" You just said that because you don't know what it means.
But without further ado, Colonel Retired Christopher Choate, call sign Coyote. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you. I got to tell you right up front, when I told some friends I was going to be with 3 senior NCOs, they says, "Oh man, you made a mistake. They're going to eat you alive." But anyway, I'm glad to be here.
Well, the possibility is always prevalent. You know, it's the risk assessment's low, but never zero.
Yeah.
Copy that.
Yeah. For
Take it
sure.
away,
Well,
Matthew.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I was really glad that I was able to connect with you and bring you on. And really excited to learn about what you're doing right now as an author. But before we get there, one thing that we like to do with our show is we like to, kind of tell the story so the audience can kind of get a picture of, how all of it came to be. And so where we like to start, Coyotes, we like to just get to know a little bit about you. So where are you from and where did you grow up?
Sure. I'll start with my, we all start with our parents, don't we? But my dad was a gunner on a B-36 Peacemaker. You may not be familiar with it, but he loved telling everybody it was the world's first intercontinental nuclear bomber, which it was. It predated the B-52 and even the B-47. So he put he instilled in me a desire and a love for flying, and as well as serving our nation. And very fortunate I never swerved from that. And from as long as I can remember, I've kind of wanted to fly for the Air Force. I had a few things, like say, I lost my eyesight, ended up being a Wizzo instead of a pilot, but I never altered from kind of where him and my mom, I need to give her credit too, where they kind of pointed me to and kept me pointed in that direction. Where I'm from, I grew up in I was born in Western Kentucky, but we grew up a lot in Southern Illinois. And when I say Southern Illinois, I know you say Illinois, people think Chicago, but Southern Illinois has nothing to do with Chicago. It's a very rural, wonderful part of America, great place. I had a great childhood growing up there. I know you guys are, I'm a little hesitant talking barbecue to Texans. I know that's kind of the like politics and religion and what have you. But anyway, have you heard of Mike Mills?
Yeah, this is what your friends were telling you about. Tread carefully.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Well, I've got 2 assignments. I got like 7 years in Texas. I like to think I'm an honorary Texan. I got 2 assignments there. But have you heard of Mike Mills? Is huge in the Memphis barbecue arena. He was from my hometown, and he 17th Bar and Grill, but he's a barbecue capital of Illinois. And again, Southern Illinois is not Chicago. Please don't confuse the two there. But grew up there, rural, wonderful place, hunting, fishing, playing sports. Family moved back to West Tennessee where we were originally, and that's where I ended up going through high school. Again, Northwest Tennessee, a small rural town. It was a railroad town, so it was dying when I was there. Going in the 70s and 80s, it was dying with the railroad. But great place to be. Can't get too much trouble there. A great place to grow up. From there, wanting to fly, ended up going to Memphis State to the Air Force. Talked to the Navy, by the way, and that's a sidebar there. I had a recruiter who wasn't the nicest guy in the world, and so I kind of just gravitated to the Air Force. I was looking at the Navy and the Air Force at the time. But Memphis State, went to there, got my degree, went into, again, lost my eyesight in college. So that was kind of learned a lot of things when that happened. Became a navigator, got the F4 like I wanted. And I, like you guys, I bet, I had a wonderful career, lost some friends, wasn't all great, lost some friends in the process, but overall, I, just so glad I did it. I've been very blessed to have the career I had.
Yeah. So for you growing up in Illinois and with your dad was in the military, was he in the military at all while you were a kid, or was he out already by the time you were born?
He just did 4 years, so he was already
Okay.
out by the time I got in it. And you probably, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say, had I been in, had I stayed in, but he got mad at the Air Force, and he showed them he left early, and but he looking back on it, that was the highlight of his life. He did a lot of things. He was a pilot. He owned a business. He was a project manager on very multi-million-dollar industries. But I think the thing he was the proudest of was his time in the Air Force.
Yeah. So for him, I'm sure you said he did a lot of things and all, and it was the best moments for him. Are there any memorable stories your dad told you about being a pilot that helped, plant the seed further for you to want to be a pilot eventually and join in the military? Is any story above all that sticks out that your dad used to tell you?
Yeah, a couple of them. And he was a gunner in the Air Force. He was a pilot, civilian pilot, but he was a tail gunner on the B-36.
Okay.
And he loved telling the story or their operational readiness inspection, which this is the 50s. Cold War was alive and well. They had a nuclear bomb that their plane, it was I think 10 megatons. The thing was massive, and their plane was not that fast. It was 6 propellers and 4 jets. And they weren't going to get away from it, and they all knew it. I mean, but they would deliver the weapon if they were called to do it. It was a one-way mission. They would not get away from the blast because it was so big. And but for his operational readiness inspection, they went to Guam, which he talked about that. But then they flew like a 20-hour mission. The jet it didn't refuel, but it had tons of gas on it. And they went to Philippines, up to Japan. I think they dropped a simulated nuke on Tokyo. When they came home, all the piston engines these things were massive piston engines that would always lose oil. And I think he said they only had like 3 of the engines running, and they had to crank the jets up. And they limped back into Guam, but they made it. But he was like, that was rather interesting. What your engines are quitting on you, and you're still somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. But he told us several of them. That was the one I remember the most.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So it looks like you have fans in the building there, Coyote. Miss Ty will put it up. Miss Lynn there says that your dad was a wonderful person. So she's in the building today on here watching. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you tuning in. Yeah. So
she's like a sister to me. She's a wonderful classmate from South Fulton. Her mom and my mom were best of friends.
Nice. So when you were growing up, sports, going through everything, leading up to the point of joining, once you go to college, you said that when you went to college, you lost your eyesight. I would be very interested to hear the story because that kind of projected you to becoming a navigator versus a pilot. Like, what's the story behind that? Was it one of those, you're not going to believe this stories, or like, how did that happen? What happened with that?
Well, I knew they were going. And I did everything. I ate carrots. I did everything you could think of, trying to preserve my eyesight. And this is probably a really good lesson for you people listening. Is I had said up to this point I would never be a navigator. I mean, not happening. I'm not becoming a navigator. Well, it changes when you're not going to be a pilot and your childhood dream is now gone. And I'm coming up on my commissioning physical, about ready to retire. I'm already married. You take a different perspective when what you wanted to do is no longer an option. So I evaluated my circumstances and decided I really wanted a fighter. I say if I get the backseat of a fighter, I think I would be very happy. And so I worked my tail off to get that and got very lucky to do so. And in hindsight, I can't tell you, that things would have worked out any better had I went to pilot training. I really can't say things would have worked out better in the end. I mean, I had, again, very blessed for a wonderful career. And, and so I would just pass along to everybody listening that, you have a dream, pursue it, but, it doesn't always happen, and have a backup plan and just, change, adapt, and go for what you can get. And for me, it worked out very well.
Yeah. And so what year did you actually commission in the Air Force?
1984.
So 84. So when you got into the Air Force in 84, what was going on in the world that you guys were paying attention to, and what was your first assignment?
Okay. Yeah. The Cold War was still pretty alive and well. The Reagan buildup was going on, and it was a great time to be in the military. The big one, there was still the Soviet Union. My first operational assignment was an R4 at Bergstrom Air Force Base, which is now Bergstrom International in Austin. And we were a tactical reconnaissance unit. We were assigned to NATO. We were primarily assigned to NATO, and that was our full goal. We deployed over to Italy, and we were totally focused on the Warsaw Pact. And that was lost several friends during that time because we pushed the envelope on the flying. We flew very low, very fast, and we pushed the aircraft, and we lost some planes in the process. And the training out at Red Flag in Nevada was very, very aggressive. But it was a serious time, and we were ready. And I think things have told us now that had push come to shove, it would not have worked well for the Soviets. We were really scared at the time, but I think they wouldn't have done very well. I think we would have helped. We would have, well, it would have worked out very well for us and not for them, I think.
Right. So you said that you lost quite a few friends during that time. So in that time with the training for you guys, obviously you were training as if it was the real thing. Now, looking back on it, could there have been anything you could have done? Well, obviously there's always something you could have done different in the training aspect, but was it just one of those instances where we have to train the exact way we're going to do this? Otherwise it's not going to work out well. Was it pushing too hard? What do you think was the biggest reason that so many people had those incidents?
The jet was getting old at this time. I think that was a lot of it. The F4, it was most of our jets were built in the 60s, so it was getting old, and it was not a real forgiving aircraft. It was a wonderful aircraft, but unlike the Eagle, it was not forgiving. And safety was paramount. We were up one. We did not, every day we try to keep this from happening, but it happened. We knew, and it was just. You hate to say it was acceptable because it wasn't. We didn't accept it, but we knew it could happen, and. We were trained for it. And again, I think that the aircraft was part of it. And yes, we were pushing more than we did later in my career. But again, the Cold War was ongoing, and it was, we were concerned about it. And I know if you guys were in the same time, it was a little bit different era because it was, we were very serious. And not that we're not now, but back then we surely were. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, so from that plane, what was the next plane that you went into? Because you said those were getting old. Is there another plane that you went to next, or were you in that one for quite a long time?
Just one tour. The Cold War ended, and my last flight in the F4 was '89, was pretty much right when the Berlin Wall was falling. Cold War was ended. I was basically a navigator training back in California, training the navigators at the time. I missed Desert Storm. That was out as a training. And from this point, the Air Force was downsizing, and even getting back to flying didn't look good. So I went to our personnel center. You can probably still smell the personnel stuff on me. I know how that's kind of hard to get off of you, but yeah, that's a military joke. I'm sure you all get that one, but anyway, I do my best to get it off. But and from there, a lot of things happened in the Air Force, the downsizing, we shut down training, and I was able to get to the Strike Eagle. Which again, at the time, it was kind of unlikely, but at the end of that, I got into the Strike Eagle. I flew that in Alaska and in England. And I was one of the, used to joke around that almost everybody at this point, when Kosovo hit, which was another, big Air Force involved war, I was in the Pentagon there. So I got to watch that one from the back of a crisis action team in the Pentagon. And that was a joy. So anyway, so I show up in England and I have 0 combat time, and there was probably, I don't know, maybe 3 of us on base, so we could meet in a phone booth, the guys of us that had not flown combat in the Strike Eagle. So fortunately, I finally got in the no-fly zones and got that. But the Strike Eagle, I flew at Alaska and then in England, and I was there for 9/11, which we did not deploy, which kind of surprised me, and thought we would, but they didn't send us. And then Iraqi freedom kicked up. I was in Turkey waiting for my jets to show up, and they never showed up since Turkey never gave us the rights to the airfield. So the Strike Eagle was a lot of fun. I mean, it's an amazing aircraft. And again, I flew in the no-fly zones, but I never flew it in combat per se. The no-fly zones technically were, but that's kind of a speeding, if you will, to call that real combat. But
so what was your first mission into a no-fly zone in that aircraft?
It was just, unfortunately, the no-fly zone in the northern Iraq. And the Iraqis knew we were coming. They leave. We would the AWACS would be piping the air picture into you, and they'd be flying around some and go, hey, this might get fun. And sure enough, as we show up, they would leave. Never really, they were shooting at us with a AAA, but they had no prayer of hitting us. At this time, all the radar stuff was gone. So we're up high enough and they're unguided, just firing. And those poor guys guys pulling the lanyards, they were draftees. You didn't want to kill them anyway. They had to pull the lanyard, or they got a 9mm upside their head. So, but they'd fire at us, and then we get approval, and we drop a laser guided bomb on the artillery piece, and that was it was, I tell you, I'll be quite honest with you, the training at Red Flag out in Nevada was much more concerning because that was much more hectic, much more concerning. Up at 30,000 feet. Now, I know you guys on the ground, there are no banana wars on the ground. You know, a stinking 7.62 will take care of you in anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at, Guadalcanal or, you know, wherever. Grenada, doesn't matter.
And just so you know, we want to kill them all. Like we want to kill them all. I want them all dead. So
okay,
just want to throw my two in there. Like, no, you're shooting at me. I want you dead, and your children,
dead, yes,
and your
right.
dog.
I totally agree. And
I want your cats, your dogs, your goats. I want them all dead. I want to kill them.
The unforgiven.
I understand. And again, if you're on the ground, there are no banana wars. You know, somebody got a gun pointing at you. There are no, but and above 30,000 feet in the air, though, I yeah, it's kind of a banana war. There's no radar guided stuff coming at us, so they were shooting at us, but they had no prayer of hitting us. So,
yeah. So, you said that you were in England during 9/11.
Yes.
So, what was going on when 9/11 happened? You're in England. Can you walk us through that day? Where were you? What was going on? How did you find out?
Sure can. And you know, one of those things you'll never forget. I know, I'm sure we're all the same way, but I was flying, and we got recalled from the command post. They recalled all the Lake and Heath aircraft. And immediately we thought it was, well, probably weather. That happens in England. They'll recall you when the weather goes bad. And then we heard a Royal Air Force base. I can't remember which one it was, but they recalled their aircraft. And then we're thinking like, oh, maybe we had a midair with them, you know, because we would train with the Brits some. So we were thinking, well, maybe we had a midair. That's why they were calling us back. But then we started hearing one after another the Royal Air Force bases recalling their aircraft. So we knew something bad happened then. We didn't know if it was in America or in England, but we right then we kind of figured out something bad had happened. And as we got close to the base, we checked in with as a supervisor of flying. He's a rated guy in the tower. And he asked us if we had flares on board, and we did. And he told us to arm them. And that right there was, you never armed a flare over, you know, non-military airspace. You just not armed flares. So we knew right then something happened. And then when we landed, obviously the crew chiefs told us, and, you know, we put the aircraft, got them in the hangars because kind of like, you know, Pearl Harbor. We didn't know if anything was going to be hitting in England or not. So, you know, we went to a wartime setting very quickly on that. And it was, I'm sure you all remember, it was, boy, it was a different time.
Oh yeah, 100%. Very, very different. Very different. So, you're in England. 9/11 happens. Were you in England for long? And you said that you thought you guys were going to get called up, but you didn't. Where did you go? Were you actually deployed over to Turkey? You said you were in Turkey, but was that the next place after England, or what was it like for you after 9/11? What was the posture? What were you hearing? Like, because I know a lot of people we've talked to kind of in your situations, like, we're going, never mind. We're going, never mind. Yeah. So you're always ready to go and you want to go, but then something happens and they're like, nah, never mind. You're like, oh my gosh, could you just send us already? Right. So kind of walk us through yours.
Yeah. We immediately quit flying. Our maintainers were working around the clock to get the aircraft all ready to go, because we were on, you know, warning order. I forgot warning order, whatever the term was, to deploy. And this was, you know, September, which is the end of the fiscal year. So we were prepping the jets, getting ready to go. And it's a little bit in the weeds, but I'll try to keep it simple. The flying hour program is huge in the Air Force. That drives our budget. So the flying hour program, we have to fly all our hours and our sorties. I mean, you know, the Navy's got ships. You don't care about the flying as much, and the Army's got other things, but the Air Force is flying, and our whole budget is built around that flying hour program. And we weren't flying because we were prepping to go to war. And I'll never forget, our ops group commander called us in, the senior leaders of the squadron. And the first thing he said, he was a wonderful guy, one of the best leaders I worked for. And he goes, all right, I'm going to start this with, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the messenger. And but we were told to quit prepping. We're not deploying, and start flying as much as we could. And just to go around and fly every hour we could, trying to regain the flying hour program. And if you want fraud, waste, and abuse for the federal government, you cannot get a better example than that, because we started flying around England just wasting gas trying to get this flying hour program, all for a budgetary, bureaucratic reason. And morale was not very high.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about, if there's bullets left over, get rid of all of them, because you can't have any left, because we're not going to bring you new ones until you get rid of the old ones. Or, you know, you have X amount of dollars left at the end of the fiscal year. You got to spend it all this year, so you get that amount and more next year. If heaven forbid you save money. It's really funny how that works. But when you guys, because like in the Navy, a lot of our pilots, they have to do, if you're on a carrier, you got to have so many landings on a carrier. You got to stay up current on those quals.
Right.
So when you guys actually did go fly, although you were up there for the flying hour program, wasting gas and doing all the things, it's like you have to do it because you got to do it. Did you guys implement anything to prepare just in case? What did you guys do? Any kind of scenario stuff, or was it just fly around, like it just, put it in the air?
We did try to, knowing Afghanistan, we did try to, our aircraft was interdiction, and that was our main goal, which, going in deep, dropping on very major, large targets. We did try to change it to more of a close air support role, and we did what we could for the training. So we were training. I don't want to make it sound like we were just wasting gas, but there was some of that. But we were also trying to train and get ready for Afghanistan if we did get called, even though we had been taken off of the warning order. But yeah, so we did try to modify as much as we could.
And then from there, where was your next assignment right after that?
Right. Well, now I deployed to Turkey out of England, and this was right before Iraqi freedom, and we knew the Northern Watch was still going on, so I went down for Northern Watch with the intent that we were going to be deploying our jets in support of Iraqi freedom. So we were there for that, and I was training for that. I brought my flight gear with me. That was a little war story I tell everybody. This is the time, they're giving me the stupid anthrax shots. I got they updated my smallpox. And I'm getting on the plane to go down to Turkey. I got my wife, my kids there, and I say, and we're really worried about the WD and everything else. And, so it's kind of a little stressful here. And I get on the plane with the rotator. It's an old DC-10, I think it is. And I'm sitting there, and they bring up the movie, it's Sweet Home Alabama. I never envisioned going to a war zone watching Sweet Home Alabama. That just, should we have Patton on or something, a little more, But anyway, went down there for that.
Nothing gets you pumped up like Sweet Home Alabama. Nothing gets gets the war juices flowing like a rom-com. You know what I'm saying? That's how we prepped for mission before we went out on patrol. We always put in a little rom-com, get a little softer side for us.
That's crazy.
I gotta say, I was just thinking, I bet you, I know damn good and well the Romans didn't go, to wherever the Romans went with some, whatever, some little, dancer up there giving them a romantic comedy. But anyway, I kind of thought that was rather humorous. That I watched that on the way to Turkey. But
that's so funny. So when you guys got there,
Turkey,
you said, what happened in Turkey? Because you were there and you said just like it didn't materialize. What was the deal with that?
The No Watch was still flying. We were spinning up for the Iraqi freedom. And then Iraqi freedom, remember, kicked off early. I think we thought we had a chance against Saddam. So it started early, kind of took us all by surprise. And about that time, Turkey told us we're not getting the bases. So we sat there and we had a job to do at that point. Northern Watch was done. We're not flying. We had to clear airspace. We had some coordination to do, but we needed probably 8 people to do the job. And the Air Force being the Air Force, and USAFE, the Air Forces Europe, trying to get involved in the war, they kept sending people to us and more. And professionally, it was the worst 3 weeks of my life because we said the war is going on, and I'm just sitting here chopping trees down left and right, getting paper cuts for no reason at all. But and briefing generals, all these things wanting to go on, and God, it was terrible. But it was
so like what's going through with you guys then there? Like if you're in a unit like that and you're over there, and everybody knows why you're going, right? You're going there in support of troops that are in the area, right? Like we all know. People get in trouble. The Air Force is there to help them, right? Whether it's the gunships or, they're there for support. So you guys know what's going on. They keep sending people. What was the unit morale like? What was everybody saying? Like, what was it like to be in that? Like you said, worst 3 weeks, like we need 8 people. There's 50 here. Like, how was that for you guys being there that close to it and knowing that like you really weren't going to be able to be like an integral part of what you were there to do,
Yeah, it like I say, professionally, the worst I was there about 3 weeks, then Turkey threw us out. They go, if you're a part of Northern Watch, you're out. And by that time, we already, the Army had already rolled into Baghdad, so about 3 weeks later, it was pretty much that part, the initial invasion was over. But I was working 14 hours. I was working like 8 at night to 8 in the morning, plus a little longer. Chopping up, taking the air tasking order, I was cutting it up in various ways, and we didn't have a job, and it had a reserve general who wasn't the sharpest cookie in the world that we were working for, and he would ask these questions, and he'd want to know what would happen, and I go, well, you want to know, I'll have to call the command or the Air Operations Center down in Saudi. If you need to know, and he'd yell at me, why you can't read it? I go, I can read it, but I'm not in charge. I can't tell you what the decision will be made. I can tell you what that aircraft on that line does, and it's going to refuel, and et cetera, et cetera. But if something happens, like he would ask a scenario, I go, I don't know, because the people in charge are making that. We're just sitting here looking at it. And so it was just an exercise of futility. I say we're just briefing after briefing, doing things that just really didn't matter. And like I say, they kept throwing people in who didn't have a job. It was depressing. I mean, it was just downright depressing. There's a war going on, and I'm not doing anything really to help.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be extremely frustrating, especially with all the training you've done and everything that you've prepared for. It's one of those things that it's amazing that, like, hey, tell me what's going on here and how's it going to work? And you're like, for real? Like, where we are and where they are, right? Like, honestly, like, we could draw it out. And then if you were wrong, then it'd be like, I can't believe you said that. Like, well, I told you I didn't know, but you wanted an answer, right?
I had a Brit officer that it's a great war story, but anyway, we were calling each other chips, because that was like every time we go to the guy, we were giving him the answer he wanted. So you chip, it's like, so anyway. But there's a lesson for everybody. You lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. Everybody's heard that. I always thought, get the hell out of the way. But you can't do nothing else. Just get out of here. We'll take care of it. But in this case, get the hell out of the way we should have got the hell out of the way. We did not have a job, and we were just gumming things up. So again, I kind of took a different perspective of that now. I'll go, yeah, sometimes get the hell out of the way, because you're not, you're just not helping. But in our case, we needed to get the hell out of the way because we were just gumming the operation up.
Yeah. So you guys were in there for 3 weeks, and then did you just deployed back to England, go back to the States? Where did you go from there?
Back to England. Turkey just told us to get out. They just said get out, so we all scrambled and got back to England. Finished up my flying career. From there, came down to Eglin, where I live near Eglin now, and did operational tests for the Air Force, which was a lot of fun, really enjoyable. Taking the operational tests of new weapon systems, and really very satisfying job. Did that. I got that last promotion that I wasn't counting on getting. I didn't expect that, and I went out to outside of Nellis, the Creech Air Force Base, and I was in a joint unit where we were trying the Center of Excellence, Joint Unmanned Aircraft System Center of Excellence. Say that 3 times, but where we were trying to, the Army and the Air Force at the time were in a food fight over unmanned aircraft, and Congress got involved, and military does what, when Congress gets involved, things are bad. So they stood us up trying to tell Congress, we got it. So we were going out there trying to figure out how to do unmanned aircraft in a joint environment. And we did a little good, but I can tell you from everything going with unmanned aircraft now, we had no clue. I mean, there were so many things they're doing now that we were supposedly trying to figure out, and boy, we missed them. That's just amazing what we're doing with those things now.
I mean, what year was that you guys were doing the unmanned aircraft?
06 to 09, 2006 to 2009.
Yeah. I mean, you go from 09 to now, like we've gone 6 lifetimes ahead in technology, that makes it easy. So you could walk around and tell everybody, you guys are welcome. We made all the mistakes so you could make it better. There you go. That's what I would say anyway.
Yeah.
I'm the reason you were able to figure that out.
Yeah. We came with training standards, joint training standards. We did some good, but and I did this with the strategic planning of the Pentagon too. We were out 30 years in advance at that time, which is basically today in this time frame. And there's just so many things that you try to go forward and try to predict and guess, and it's the rare individual that gets it right, because it is really like I say, a lot of things with the unmanned aircraft. We knew the persistence was really going to be important, and that just changes around when you can plant one of the things over you and you just watch it 24/7. That changes how you work, and you can see what Ukraine's doing with them. Those guys are brilliant, what they've done with their unmanned vehicles. So it's just changing warfare. And again, we're not good at doing that, and trying to figure it out. But like I say, it's we got the ball started. I'll say that. So.
Yeah. So at this point, when you were doing the testing, how many years had you been in at that point, and was this the time frame where you decided that it was time to start transitioning out, or did you have a little bit more time left?
Well, I had over 20 at that point. I say that the last assignment, I wasn't really expected to make colonel. I did. So I did 3 years as a colonel out in Nevada. And then after that, the back here at Eglin, the operational tests, they were hiring civilians to do former rated officers. And since I'd already done it, it was very easy to transition in. It made the retirement decision pretty simple. I think the Air Force is going to make it for me anyway, because there was a early retirement board coming up, and they would have probably I'd been top of the list, I'm sure. But anyway, so it made it very simple to retire. My wife, family wanted to come back to this part of Florida, so it made it very simple to retire, and I went right back into doing operational tests as a civilian, doing pretty much what I was doing when I was a lieutenant colonel here at Eglin, and just doing air-to-air testing and air-to-ground testing, and very, very rewarding work.
Gotcha. So, so did that it just came up out of the blue that they were going to start doing that, and you saw it, which is what helped you go to that point, or had you already been thinking about transitioning before that job came about? Right? You said you knew you were at 20, you knew it was there. I mean, you were out doing the operational. Like, what was your thought process for that?
Yeah, I had about 24 in at the time, and I knew I would probably come back to Eglin to do the operational tests, whether as a civilian for the Air Force or as a contractor. And say it just turned out that these government jobs came available, and I moved it that way. But it's one of those things, if you haven't done it, you can't do it, kind of. So having the operational test experience on active duty made it very easy to transition into a civilian or a contractor doing this, supporting the same work.
Are you still doing it, or are you not doing that any longer?
I retired from GS back in 24. I've been working part-time for doing electronic warfare testing, helping out a squadron here at Eglin that does electronic warfare test programming for our foreign military sales. And I'm calling that quit here. 24th of June will be my last day. We're packing up, moving, going to a 55+ community. I always want to get rolled out of the nursing home in this house, but I'm sorry.
Pickleball every day.
Pickleball, cold beer. Sounds like, hey, sign me up. Sign me up.
So one question I do have for you, Coyote, though, is what we like to ask at this point. A lot of times you knew that you had the civilian job coming. You'd been 24 years in the Air Force. For you personally, what was your transition out of the Air Force like? Being that you knew that you had this position that you could go into, so I guess my lead to that would be, did that mean that you were like, oh, I'm good, I've already got it figured out? Did you have a good transition where people set you up to do the right things? Like, what was it like for you going from active duty across to the civilian side? Because even though you're going to be at GS, like, you're still out, right? And there's still that whole transition piece. So what was yours like?
It was really easy, and I was, again, very, very fortunate, because I became a civilian, but I was working with active duty personnel, and a lot of them I knew, I was on active duty. So that camaraderie, the atmosphere, our work ethic, all that was still there. And so it made it was very seamless. It really was. And I didn't have to worry about supervising people anymore. And I tell you, that was very nice. It asked me occasionally if I want to be a supervisor. And then, no, thanks. Done that. Don't really care. I'll do my job. Don't really care to supervise at this point. But since I stayed in the military environment, transitioning for me was very simple. A lot of people, you get out, and as you guys know, that a lot of people have trouble because it's so hard to replicate what we have in the military, and the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the camaraderie. But for me, it was very simple.
Yeah, I mean, it probably made it a lot easier too, because you were able to go to a place where you knew people that were still in, right? And you were still kind of around them, and still interacting with them daily. So that's definitely an easy part for you as far as like the VA process and submitting all of that and doing all those things. Did that make it easier for you because you were still around, or is that something that you put off because you were right back in the same place? How was your portion of that? Because I've seen a lot of guys that if they go from, we call it in the Navy, khakis today to slacks on Monday, right? You leave the uniform and you're right back in the same place you worked as a civilian. A lot of times you just keep going, right? It's like almost like it never stopped. But what about, did you experience that? Did you have to do all that later? What was that like for you?
It was pretty seamless. For the healthcare, I just stayed with Prime, TRICARE Prime on base. So I still went to the hospital on base. VA, I went through the standard VA. I'm very fortunate. Other than hearing, I can't hear, but other than that, I'm pretty healthy. So I haven't had to go through a lot of the stuff on that. But so again, it was very seamless for me, just for various reasons. Again, like you said, I just walked right to the office I used to work in. I was just a cubby hole over doing the exact same job I did when I was in 05 at Eglin, and working with people that I knew. Contractor that was a great contractor, really helped me out when I was on active duty. He was still there, so I was working with him again. And the VA part, like I said, I haven't had much with the VA just because I've been very fortunate on the health part there. But so far on all that, so all went fairly seamless. And the fact I did healthcare on base, again, very healthy, so that was pretty much not an issue. And I hate to, I know a lot of people don't have that experience, and I've been very fortunate to have the one I have. Yeah.
No, it's a good point. I mean, so for you, what was it like leaving from, being a colonel, active duty? You had airmen that worked for you. You had, junior officers that worked for you. What was it like for you to step on the other side, walk into the building, and see certain situations that you knew you would have handled different if you were the guy in charge? Did you find a struggle with that at all? Because you were back in the same place, you saw the day-to-day routine, and with that much time and experience, leadership is leadership. Did you find a struggle a little bit, like separating from being the lieutenant colonel to now a GS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember I walked by. I'm a civilian going to my bit, and an airman, young airman, just going by, and I said, "Hey, good morning. How you doing?" "Doing good, dude." And I remember the hair stood up my back, dude. I was like, "Oh, shit." Yep, okay, yep, dude's fine. I'm a dude. That'll work. But
oh man,
that one sticks with me because that was the first
dude's
time.
Lucky.
Just like. Yeah, but hey, I was a civilian in civilian clothes. All right, that's.
I mean,
dude, that's fine.
If it would have been me walking down the hall, and he would have called me dude, we would have been like, okay, hold on, real quick. Let's ask this question. Is that how you talk to everybody that walks in this building? Is that what you're supposed to do? I thought they taught you manners in the Air Force. We still say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am here, right? Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning, dude. I would have just asked all the questions.
Yeah, it's probably
at the end of the day, it's military bearing, right?
Yeah. In hindsight, I probably should have. I'd be thinking, I'm a civilian.
You're probably looking around like, I can't believe he's. Oh shit, I'm wearing the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
On the military side, again, very lucky that the officers in charge of the dead I worked with, they would call me in and ask my advice quite often. I mean, because I was a few years senior to them, and they were, again, just very fortunate. We were so lucky in the military that we got a couple of buffoons. Everybody's got some buffoons, but they're few far and in between, I have found. So I very rarely saw something that I thought was really going wrong. And occasionally in meetings, I would just have to say something in meetings. People would be going down some way, and I remember a few of those times, just like, they're getting ready to brief a general this big crisis, and I just literally finally had enough. Because guys, bullet number 2 there, don't brief that, and they'll explode on you and go, well, guys, I'm telling you that don't work. If you want to hear it, I'll explain it to you. I've seen it so many times, but stuff like that occasionally, you just
I think that's an advantage of. That's definitely an advantage of having someone in the building that has been in those positions as a GS before, though. Believe it or not, it helps develop those guys to kind of look at it like, I'm going to give them all the information. Okay, hold on, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can leave some stuff out because it's not going to look good if you do it right, because that could be embarrassing to them because they don't know it's coming, or they know that that's something, but that's not something that they would normally tell someone else. And
Right.
if you've never had to do it before, they're probably like, you don't understand. I got to do, like, I do understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Funny.
Another one I can remember, I wrote I was trying to get to writing. I was writing. So I wrote an op-ed for Defense News telling the Air Force, trying to save the A-10. So the A-10 was the best in its career field. And had a two-star general. I worked for a colonel who worked for a general who I got a call after that went out. The colonel calls me and tells me, next time I write an article, I was in a Air Force operational test unit. And he says, leave Affeltech out of that. And next time you write an article. And I go, I didn't mention Affeltech. I said operational testing. And anyway, so the general didn't yell at me directly. He had the colonel yell at me. I go, well, you can, one, I didn't do it. And two, I don't think you can tell me to not do that. As far as not the ECMJ anymore. Sorry.
There you go. This time I'm not wearing the uniform, and I can totally tell you can't tell me that.
Yeah. And I said,
there is advantages to that.
Oh, there was, and I like to say that was like 10 years ago. And recent example of the A-10 in the Gulf, I like to think I've been validated, because Air Force was trying to get rid of it. We've been trying to get rid of the poor jets as we got it. But I like to say I think I was right on that article, and still am today. But
man, there's nothing like an A-10. No. A-10s they're so awesome.
Yeah, my thing was we shouldn't get rid of them until we can afford a real replacement.
Yeah. Well, so the screen for us has changed, and we want to have as much time as we can to get into your what you're doing right now. You had kind of alluded to, you were trying to get into writing, and we want to talk about that. But before we get there, our man Ty has a list of questions. We do a section on our show called the Hot Seat. So he's going to ask you. They might be embarrassing or they might be difficult. I don't know, but he's going to ask you, and me and Al are going to come right back when he's done.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the hot seat, sir.
All righty.
We're going to let Matt have the controls now. So I really appreciate your stories. Like I told you before we got on, my son's in the Civil Air Patrol, and he just loves everything about aircraft. I think he knows more about the armament of aircraft from playing Battlefield that I ever knew when I was serving. So I think they're watching the show out there in the living room. So he's going to
cool.
What was your favorite pre-flight jam before you went up on a sortie?
I had the Tiger.
And for what reason?
When I was in field training in ROTC, that was kind of our go-to song. It was popular at that time. That's when the movie came out. So that was always kind of my go-to song.
All right. What was your favorite jet to fly? I know you spoke of two, but I've got an add-on question after you say your favorite jet.
It'd have to be the Phantom, because that was her first. That was my first. The old joke that some guys will joke that's your wife and your real wife's your mistress, but you're married to that jet. But it was the Phantom, definitely the Phantom.
All right. So I usually ask some of the same questions, but I'm going to ask you this one because of kind of the time when you were flying. What was your favorite movie about hotshot pilots? Was it Top Gun or Iron Eagle?
I went to see Iron Eagle. I knew it was going to be a terrible movie. That was my take. Like, the flying scenes will really be cool. They weren't. They did not make up for it. I actually enjoyed Top Gun. I even like the sequel, the Maverick one. Obviously, you can't take it with a grain of salt, but it's a very entertaining movie, and the flying scenes are pretty cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's self-described by Tom Cruise, a love letter to flight and aviation. Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful movie. What's the most unique place in the world you've ever visited?
Unique place in the world. Oh boy, you got me on that one. Unique place in the world. Pompeii, Italy. It's amazing to see what the Romans did over 2,000 years ago. And you go there in Pompeii, as it was buried in the ash of the volcano. And I don't know what the number is, but there are cities on this planet today that probably were not as advanced as Pompeii and the Romans were at that time. So I think that was really amazing to get to walk on those streets and see Pompeii. Ephesus and Turkey would be another one, to see where Paul preached to the Ephesians in the theater there. Those are both. I put those two.
Oh, beautiful. I think Pompeii, I think that was in 810 BC, if that number's ringing a bell. Does that sound right?
Somewhere. I apologize. I can't remember. But
yeah,
around 2,000 years, roughly, yeah.
Absolutely. So for upcoming pilots and for our audience, can you describe what a G feels like and what a negative G feels like?
G's are they're not fun. They're not fun. You just tolerate them, and it's just the stress on the body, the blood trying to pull out of your head. You fighting the strain. It gets tougher as you get older. I can tell you that. Negative G's are no fun at all. Negative G's, you're very sadistic if you like negative G's. They are just painful.
Yeah, that's the one that makes you completely lose everything, right? Like,
yeah, blood rushes to your head, and there's not much you can do about stopping it. You can fight the positive G's. You can strain against that to try to keep the blood in the upper extremities of your body, but the negative G's, there's just not much you can do.
I have a feeling I may know what the answer to this next question is, probably flexibility or be able to have a second choice. But what is the most important trait in a pilot?
Judgment. You got to, you need to know what you can do, what you can't do, where to push it, where not to push it. I tell you, some of the best pilots I flew with had very little ego. Everybody likes to think fighter pilots had these huge, massive egos, and trust me, some of them do. Some of them had an ego that wouldn't fit this room I'm in. But they were not necessarily the best pilots. I found the best pilots that I flew with were very humble, very sharp, and again, they just did not have the ego that supposedly goes with your average fighter pilot.
Excellent. Good answer. I like it. What was your first concert and what was your favorite concert?
First concert, Jack Daniels. No, not yet Jack Daniels. Charlie Daniels. I'm sorry.
Charlie Daniels.
Tell you where my mind is.
That went down to Georgia.
Sorry, yeah. Charlie Daniels. It's all him. Very interesting. Great concert. Favorite would have to be Aerosmith. I saw them twice. My wife's favorite band, and we went out to see them in Vegas twice. Now, they were well past their prime at that point, but they, for their age, they did a great show. So definitely Aerosmith would be my favorite.
Yeah, Aerosmith was my mom's favorite band. She passed away in 2007. But
sorry.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But I say that to say this: like, she was a rocker. So I remember Aerosmith when Permanent Vacation came out. Yeah. That was like the apex of the Killers from Boston. Like, I love Aerosmith as well. But when they were doing that Las Vegas show, they were bringing in a lot of people to sing with them. Is that not true?
Not the two times we saw them. It was just Aerosmith, both times.
Oh, very cool. I would love to see Aerosmith. I've never seen them. Looking back over your career, is there anything you would have done differently?
Boy. I'm sure there is. I'm trying to think of one right up front. I probably didn't take like some of my professional military education as serious as I should. Like our intermediate levels, squadron officer school, we call it. I did not go there with probably the mindset that as I mentored people later, I would always tell them it's very important. I don't act like it's important, but I'm telling you this is very important. And I went there not really knowing that. So I did have a disadvantage, I think, because my dad was, they say he just did 4 years and got out. A lot of my contemporaries, their dads were career military, so they had a leg up on me there because their dad kind of would coach them or tell them some things that I did not know. So that's probably the big one. It wasn't flying. It was just a square filler to me, and got senior. It's more senior in the Air Force. I realized, well, that's not how the Air Force looks at it.
Excellent, sir. All right, we're going to get into your book here in a few minutes, but I want you to answer this question for me.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest of all time, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Gotta go Prince. Prince.
Why Prince?
He was a great. I personally think he's a great entertainer. He had a realm of voice of the songs. I don't know a lot about Michael Jackson besides Thriller. I got to enjoy Thriller, but as far as I know, Prince, he was kind of the full package.
Sir, we're on episode 153, and as you can see now, the gap has widened for Prince. He's up by 10, 58 to 48. Highly contentious part on the show here. But what I'd like to do next, we got two more questions for you.
Sure.
We're going to talk about your book as long as you want to, as soon as we get get off the hot seat here, but with what you're doing now. But if you don't mind, give me your elevator pitch for Apollo Wept.
Apollo Wept. Apollo Wept is a vision of an America that hopefully will never come to pass. It is a military sci-fi space opera that uses satire to critique identity politics, equity, and government overreach. And it does this in a scenario of a near future America that is a dystopian at best. And it's the bumper sticker is from the name, and which goes into the book, is sometimes even the gods weep when they see what we become. And that's kind of the pitch for it, for the book. It's what if we kept current trend lines when I wrote the book, kept going, where could we be if we stayed on this slope?
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. I'm excited to hear more about it here. Is like how you got inspired to write that and that whole story. But I'm going to bring the guys in for the last question. We always like to do. You got to do a post-flight AAR. What can we do to make our podcast better?
You guys got a good format. I love the three of you. You talk, your interaction, the veteran part is wonderful. Man, you put me on the spot here. I owe you an answer, and I'm copping out.
Question of the hot seat, sir. We got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you got to get the seat. You need more Air Force representation. No, your format's great. It's entertaining. It's informative. I tell you what, let me think about it here. Before we get off this podcast, hopefully I have something better than that.
Perfect.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I just got in a couple days ago. Mail where I live doesn't go very fast, so I haven't had a chance to start it yet. But I have this book that you were so kind to send me with the overture, and I have the brochure. I have gone through the brochure. The book itself, just for the little bit I was able to scan through, looks very interesting. Ty is gonna get the book. Ty is a collector of things like this, so he's gonna have the book. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook that you sent over. But I would like to get into what got you into writing, and what was it that made you want to write a book? Like, where did writing come into play for you?
Okay. Started with Christmas newsletters, believe it or not. I had my first personal computer back in the 90s. We'd write a Christmas newsletter for the family, and realized pretty quickly that no one wants to read a boring, we did ABCD. So I try to make them informative. I'd use the old war story. If it's 10% true, I could go ahead and go that way. So I do a little bit of exaggeration, a little of stretching, if you will. And I had dear family friends, their parents, they every time told me I had to write when I got out of the Air Force, and I promised them I would. And unfortunately, they've since passed, but I told them I would, and I became interested in it. Like I said, I wrote a couple op-eds while I was still working for the government, and I wanted to write a book, and I just didn't know what to write it about. And that lovely year of 2020, we were sitting here with COVID and all the crap that went on that year, and the stuff we were fed. And I'm sitting there watching the news, and a mob in Portland tears down a statue to President Lincoln. And I remember thinking, if we're tearing down statues to President Lincoln today, where are we going to be, in the future? And this comes from the strategic planning I did at the Pentagon, some of the forecasting and realizing the drivers of the future. And I came up with a scenario, and I call it unhinged. And what I did was say, if we just stayed on that slope now, again, we're rolling off of it now, and that's good. But I don't think it's gone away. I'm afraid it will be back. But if we keep where we are tearing up statues to one of our greatest presidents today, where are we going to be? In my case, 2104. And there's a reason I came up with that date. And what very satire, very theater of absurd was, if you're familiar with the Voyager probe, And there's a plaque on the Voyager probe, which has, as it's going out of the solar system into the galaxy, it has an image of a male and a female, and just so two genders. And in my book, we have gone through this. We're obsessed with identity politics. We're ashamed of our past, and we're broke too, by the way. That's another part of the book. We're totally broke. But in this America, we're erasing the history, we're burning books, getting rid of our 20th century history. When they come upon the Voyager probe, and they realize it's got this plaque of only two genders. And in 2104, there are 101 genders and 68 sexual orientations. And this is total. The country just goes off the rails with this. This is just denial. This can't stand. We can't allow our legacy to be stained. So the decision is made by the president of New America. The Constitution is gone pretty much at this point. We're run by executive orders. So they've made a decision. We're going to send a ship out of the solar system. We'd be the first ship to ever do it, to intercept Voyager and replace that plaque with one that shows 68 sexual orientation, 101 sexual orientations or genders and 68 sexual orientations. I get that wrong every time. But anyway, so we're going to go there and we're going to replace that. And we got to do this in a Chinese-built spaceship because we're broke. So China has to build the spaceship for us. And that is what the book is about, is we send our first spaceship out of the solar system to replace the plaque to make the galaxy safe for equity.
All right. I mean, not too far off, like you said, from things that you've seen like recently. So as far as in writing the book, you know, there's a lot of parallels to things that we've seen all over the place, right? Like everybody has their opinion on how things should go and the way, you know, everything should be done. But like for that part of it, what about that you saw and you said it's turning and it's getting better? Walk us through like what came to like picking that as the topic of what they were doing, and how did that come about? Did that come from things you were seeing during that time in 2020? Is it stuff that you were thinking about? Like, what's the basis on that? And, you know, at the end of the day, what's the lesson to be learned by reading it, right? Because everything has a lesson to it if you read it, and you actually read what's in the book. Al, read the book to understand. Not just look at the pictures. I don't think this one has very many, so you might be screwed, bro.
You said there's an audio book, and I'll get when he makes the coloring book, I'll get that version too.
Yeah, the intent was, again, I saw our nation heading in the wrong direction, and to me, this is what you see. It's, to me, started in the 60s. There was an element that just does not like America, and they were very prevalent in the academia, in the colleges, and they seem to have spread. And then we got, you know, where we're embarrassed of our country, which is ridiculous. You know, we're the greatest country in the nation of ever on the face of the planet ever, and we're ashamed of it. And we're very big on finding all our sins. And good Lord, we know we're not perfect. We got plenty of sins, but so much good in our country, and you couldn't see that. And 2020 particularly after George Floyd, and then all the stuff with COVID. And turn down statues, and then it just kept going beyond that. And I really big into identity politics, which is just, you know, it became so important. What you were is always we were headed about. We didn't care who you were. We just what you were, and just denying just basic science, if you will. You know, it came later when a Supreme Court justice could not define a woman. You know, that was a little later. I was already pretty well writing in the book when she got up there and couldn't define a woman, which. You know, I'm sure you've seen Kindergarten Cop, the kindergarten kids there. You know, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. It's
best
pretty
scene of the movie.
simple. It's pretty simple. If you can't define that, you shouldn't be a district court judge. Nevertheless, on the Supreme Court, and just the absurdity of that, and the other stuff that was going on, and that's where I say, if we just continue on this, how bad could it get? And I got examples in the book, and I would write some in the book. I'd be really proud of myself. That's pretty cool. And then like a month later, I'd read it in the paper. Like, God, you know, like you just can't get in front of this stuff. I'll give you one, and you might have seen this one this is, you know, a lot of stuff I got from veterans. I think would love this book, because there's a lot of military, what, you know, are the way we talk, interact. A lot of that's in the book, but there's a social justice officer on the book, on the ship. And he is a cross between a Taliban religious religious authority of the Taliban and like the old Soviet Union political officer. But he's actually in charge of the ship, not the captain, the protagonist of the book. Anyway, so he comes marching into the captain, and we have someone on the ship wants the doctor's with him, and the doctor probably wrote him after McCoy in Star Trek a little bit. He's old school. He's common sense. He's not part of this woke ideology, and he comes in and he's screaming at airman, or not airman, excuse me, person on the ship, one of the ship wants a prostate exam. And the captain goes, all right, well, give him one. What's the problem? And he goes, he ain't got one. And of course, the social justice officer there and goes, says it's a she. He ain't got a prostate. And of course, the social justice officer gets all over him. You will address him as a he. That's his preferred pronoun. And they start going into what the prostate exam actually is. And that's just one of the examples in the book that of the absurdity that so you will give him a prostate exam, and they got one. I can't. Well, that's a he, and you will call him a he. And you will give him one, or you're going to be in trouble, mister. And he goes, I'm not shoving my finger up her ass, feeling something that ain't there.
Yeah.
That stuff like that's in the book.
Exam done. Prostate's fine. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's one of the examples. And I've got those throughout the book. And just some of the absurdity that it would come if you just keep thinking about when you're trying to deny gender and you care more about someone's orientation than what their character, stuff like that. That's pretty much in the book. And the Texans, by the way, there's independent nations, the Second Republic of Texas. They were fun to write because they were very like we were in the military. They had their act together. I think they very straightforward to the fact, and they end up saving the day at the end. It's Texans come out very well in this book.
As they should, Albert, as they should. You notice he didn't say that the Floridians made it happen. You know what I mean? They were on the beach. They were drinking. They weren't paying attention. And then it was all over. Everybody in Florida was like, oh, there was some bad shit going on. Oh, we must have missed it. Because Florida time, right?
Florida becomes part of the Texas Republic at the very end of the book. There's an aftermath 100 years later.
Shut your mouth, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys had to join us. What happened to all that read the sign when you come into the state stuff?
You're just bigger. I mean,
you damn right. You are damn right.
I was stationed in Texas. I love Texas, and I say it helped write the book. My wife graduated from Southwest Texas, Texas State now, and it helped write the book. But and you got the Alamo, I got the Texas. There's a lot of easy to write a lot about Texas in there, and so I had them. I say they are no longer part of New America, and they saved the day in the end.
I mean, that's not far-fetched. If you talk to some people in Texas, even today, they're like, we could do this on our own. Like, this is all good. Like, we could be like right in the middle. We're big enough. We got enough. There's some people in Texas that are like, I think we should still think about that whole make us our own thing, because people will come to Texas and go, you guys are your own country. Like, what is going on here? Like, not much.
There was this was back in the 80s, and I wanted to say it was in the Houston Chronicle. There's a letter to the editor. I can't remember that, but it was somebody wanting to build the Great Wall of Texas. You're going to keep the Mexicans out of the South and the Yankees out from the North. But we're going to build a Great Wall of Texas all the way around the state. And
then that must have been a rancher.
It was a letter to the editor.
I'm grabbing my tool bag right now when we start.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, that's good, man. So how long did it take you to actually write the book? Because I'm sure you said as 2020 hits, did you already have thoughts of what the book was going to be about prior to that? Was this like a long time coming, like leading up to writing it? Or did a lot of it come like, because you said you wrote stuff in the book and it just so happens like you predicted it, like, oh my gosh, something similar happened. Yeah. Was it something that you'd been thinking about for a while, or did a lot of it just come as you started to write it? Like, what was your process for that?
It came to me with a statue coming down, and that's where some reason, I don't know why I thought of the Voyager probe, but I was like, before we know it, we're going to be going out there trying to take that stupid plaque off the damn thing. And that's what kind of came to me. So really, I was wanting to write a book. I figured it'd be satire. I wrote all my Christmas letters. I'm kind of heavy in the satire. So I kind of had that in mind. I was thinking trying to write a book like the carbon footprint of a fighter pilot. But I never got anything with it. I was stuff like that. So that just came to me. I started writing, and it not knowing what I'm doing, and I still don't know what I'm doing. It was very interesting because the story I kind of plotted out. I researched it heavily because, again, did not know what I was doing. Read a lot of books on how to write a novel. One of the better ones is How Not to Write a Novel. So I read a lot of the books on it, kind of came up, mapped it out, if you will. And then I started writing it. It kind of evolved on its own. I threw in a little Christian element. It's not a Christian book. Please be clear to the audience on that. It is not a Christian book. I didn't write it for the choir, but it does have a Christian message embedded in it that kind of came to me as I was writing the book. And I was really proud of that because it worked out pretty nicely. So I guess the short answer is I just came up with it. I tried to plot it out, and then as I started writing it, it just kind of moved in its own direction and ended up where it did.
Yeah. I mean, you had a lot to play from too. You had brought up a little bit ago about like you saw it going in academia and way back, like different things happening. So it was probably something you've noticed already that you're able to put into the book, but how long did it take you to write it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Took about 3.5 years.
Wow.
I'd write at night. I didn't just on the weekends when I could, or I'd write at night some. When I'd run, I'd come up with ideas. So I'd come back and write a little bit. And I'm a terrible typer. I got a D in high school typing, and it shows.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So did you publish the book on your own, or did you have help with that?
It went through Defiance Press, which is out of Conroe, just north of Houston. There, I sent them. They were a small conservative hybrid where we both have skin in the game, if you will. I sent it to a few of the major publishers, or not publishers, but agents. And to be honest, when Trump won the second presidency, I knew good and well no one was going to touch his book. And I had some people reading me go, "Oh, I love your book, but no one's going to publish this. You realize this? It's just too controversial. It's just no one's going to publish it." Defiance, they were kind of my ace card because I figured they would, and they did. They liked it. Now, unfortunately, they're closing their doors right now, so I've lost my publisher, and I'm going to have to. It's going to be pulled off of it won't be available here shortly, and I'm going to have to republish it. So, but they did help me. They were wonderful, great to work with, and I got a second book out with them. I got done. I got to get published myself too, but I went through them, and again, small Texas conservative company, and they helped immensely. Do a lot of stuff that I'm now trying to figure out how to do.
For sure. So for you in writing the book, and once you worked with the publishers, what was the biggest lesson you learned in writing the book? Because a lot of times, one thing about military guys is we are amazing storytellers. And I will tell you, the story gets better and better every time I tell it, right?
Yep.
So writing the story and putting it on paper, what's the biggest thing you learned as you sent it to the publisher? And, when you wrote it and you were done, you're like, this is epic. It's done. I don't need to do anything else. What was the biggest thing you learned when someone else would look at it and then tell you needed to fix something? You're like, I don't think I can fix any of that. It's like, you know what I mean? Like your work, you put all this work into it, and they're like, you got to change this, and this doesn't look right. What was that like?
It was surprisingly, it didn't have as much as that I thought I would. I've got, I trying to come up with 2104 in this absurd world. So I use Z, Zer, Zim, I just butchered the Queen's English. And I thought for sure they were, because you try to read it and go, God, this is painful to read. It is, but it was, to me, essential to that world I was trying to create. And they went with that, which kind of surprised me. I really thought they were going, you got to get rid of this. It's just too much. But for most of it was just some of the clarity that it was clear to me. Excuse me, but it wasn't clear to someone like you say. I was there for the war story, and I put a lot of the war stories in there, and it was just a clarity. He goes, I don't understand this, and that's quite clear to me. Well, I was there, so you have to expand it a little bit to make it clear. That was probably the biggest one on that. But like you say, a lot of the book is full of stories, examples like from time in the military that just things happen that I was kind of like able to incorporate into the book, and so we have so many of them on deployments. When we're in parts of the world that don't make the tourist brochures, you get a lot of good stories from that.
There's a lot of statute of limitation stories that only certain people know. So, you don't get into much of that. So One thing I want to highlight as I read the information that you sent me is this book. Does this book itself support St. Jude's?
Say again. I'm sorry.
I read in the brochure about supporting St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Does this book support them?
I did a sales for St. Jude. I've done one, and I've been trying to get other ones. I have books I was saving for that, and I did a fundraiser here in Niceville that someone gave me $25. I was going to donate the book and give it all to St. Jude. I raise money for St. Jude every year. I do their half marathon in Memphis, and I'm going to put that money on my hero account, as they call it. So I'm hoping to do that again. But if you buy it online, there's nothing there going directly to St. Jude. No, this is something I was trying to do on my own.
Yeah, no, I mean, so is there and I hate to ask if you don't want to talk about, is there a personal connection with you and St. Jude? Is that the reason to support them? Or, I mean, St. Jude's amazing. You shouldn't have to have a personal connection to support them, but is there something there that there's a reason you chose St. Jude?
I was in Memphis. I went to school in Memphis and St. Jude there. And so I knew about it, the Memphis connection. And like you just said, there's a amazing organization. There's wonderful charities all over the place, outstanding charities. But I tell people you won't find one better than St. Jude. There's a lot of wonderful ones there, but it's about as good as they come.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So I did see here too, you said you just finished a book. What's the next book coming out? And then after that, like what's coming next? Are you going to have like a series coming out, or what else are you going to put out there? Cause it sounds like you love to write. You found your thing to do once all the jobs are done. You gave yourself another job. So what's on the horizon? What's the next book?
Well, I just got it's Christmas Above the Clouds, an angel in a red triplane. I just got that one out the door right as Defiance was closing the door. So I'm getting it online now. It's actually on Amazon and their Kindle electronically, but I'm trying to get that printed out. And it's an illustrated fiction of a Christmas story, World War II fighter pilot, dementia at his age, and he tells it is a Christian book. It's a very strong Christian message in that, and it's a illustrated fiction, kind of like Polar Express. And I say it's out electronically right now. I'm not advertising it, but I will hopefully have it out here in September in print and electronic book. And again, it's a short story, illustrative, but it's a nice little story of it's a Christmas ghost story. And I got that one ready to go, just trying to get it published.
Nice.
And I had that one came to me right before Christmas. I put it on my blog, and I just felt called to write that book, and I knocked it out pretty quickly. Again, it's pretty short, but that one was a different experience. And once I got it out, people liked it. So I figured I really wanted to make a book out of it.
Yeah.
And I had a third one, which I was working on, which I've got my first draft done. And I am big into, again, the satire and Western civilization or Western values and in the military. So I've got this one. It's controversial, but I will be glad to defend it. And it's an alternative history of the Tuskegee Airmen, and it's the Red Tails of Dixie. And the Confederacy got their independence in the Civil War. And it progresses to the time of World War II, where there's still two nations. And the Tuskegee Airmen, the slaves were freed in World War I when they saved Texas from Mexico, which is actually kind of based in history. Mexico was, Germany tried to get them to invade. So the Tuskegee Airmen are the Tuskegee Airmen flying for the Dixie. Now, this has a Navy component to it. To make it an interesting story, they had to come over to the Navy because the Confederate Navy had some issues. The North is very pacifist. Built a scenario. If you read Man on the High Castle,
I was just going to say this sounds a lot like Man on the High Castle.
Yeah. That's kind of the model for it, if you will.
Yeah, and I like the way they did that, where you watch it and it's like on the opposite sides. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, this one.
I don't know why. I don't know why it'd be controversial though. You're like you're writing a fictional story on like, oh, what would it be like if this happened? Like, just read the book and be entertained, right? Like you don't have to.
And I don't sugarcoat it at all. I mean, they're on the CSS Tennessee, an aircraft carrier. They've got a bigot for a captain, and they are headed to Pearl Harbor when Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. And President Calvin York, he gives them the authority to attack the Japanese Navy. So the American carriers, the Confederate carriers, attacked the Japanese Navy, and that's the story. And I don't sugarcoat it. Like I said, there's captain's a bigot. I've got the Klan in it. But it tells a wonderful story of some great Americans, the Tuskegee Airmen, and I just tell it in a different format. And it's one I hope kids would read it, would go learn about them, because they were they are extraordinary story.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting, because if again, to the point you said, if it's like The Man in the High Castle, if you actually watched the show or even read the book, you would actually learn something about everything that was originally going on then. Like you would get educated in watching the show. So it was interesting to watch for sure.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Maybe that one will get picked up for a movie.
I would hope so. I think Apollo Webb would make a great one. I got Sydney Sweeney. I'm going to call her up. She's my Renee in my book. Sydney Sweeney's perfect for her.
Oh, there you go. So Sydney, when you watch our podcast, because you will one day, you have an invitation.
She is a Renee Smith who starts out dancing in an illegal speakeasy. That's where the protagonist meets her.
Hell yeah. So
I'm going to read this book. I mean, we got strippers. Man, I'm down. Like I'm red-blooded, right-wing American. I'm ready. I'm reading it. I don't read much. But I'm going to read it.
There you go. Well, don't forget that the next one's a picture book, buddy.
Yeah, the next one's got pictures. The next one has pictures.
Oh yeah.
Done, son.
That's it. I can't wait to get this book. I'm gonna have to meet up with you, Matt, so I can get.
Yeah, for sure. I got other stuff that I owe you anyway. So we'll
guys, send me I'll be glad to send you a copy, guys. Just send me your mailing address, and I'll be more than glad to mail you a copy.
So, how can people connect with you? How can they get a hold of you? How can they learn more about what's coming in the future? You have the books coming. You're working on doing that piece. If people wanted to support you, how do they get in contact with you, and how do they help you?
I have a website. It's coyoteauthor.wordpress.com. All one word, basically, just coyoteauthor.wordpress.com. If you do a search engine, Google whatever, Apollo Webb, it'll come up to you, and you'll find that website. And that's where I have tell about some information, some background on Apollo Webb, like a timeline of some of the things I kind of predicted. Going to time, for example, I think I said we'll hit $40 trillion in 2028. I don't think we're going to make that one, but I predicted it. Kind of here's how this world of Apollo Webb came about. I have a blog there where I just write various things on the blog, and that's where they'll find the latest. And I have a newsletter on there they can sign up for, and I keep everybody up to date with that with the newsletter, which already gave a sneak peek of Christmas Above the Clouds to that newsletter. So if they go to my website, that would be the best place. So right now, I'm trying to get the books back on Amazon and trying to get them back into print, but I got some work to figure out how to do that on my own.
Yeah. And do you have any social media? Do you have Instagram? Do you have Facebook? Do you do anything on those?
Yeah, basically got them all. Facebook is my big one. I'm on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, which I'm still trying to figure out TikTok. Too old for that
we
one. We
all are. Unless you're 10, you can't figure it out, dude.
Yeah. Facebook, Coyote, Apollo Webb, Facebook. I have a personal one, but I also have my author one. That's probably the one I'm on the most, and then X probably would be the second.
Well, perfect, man. Well, there you have it. If you're listening today or in the future, because we know most of you that are listening pretend like you got stuff to do on Thursday, but you really don't. But thanks for listening after we've recorded it. We appreciate that. Support Coyote, buy the book. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a good read. There's more coming out. And it's always great to support veterans doing great things. And, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for connecting with us. Thanks for allowing us to have you on, tell your story, learn about your service. We thank you for your service. Thank you for, serving our country, keeping it free, and being able to write the books the way that you've written because of what we have all done to allow people, the freedom to do that. Right.
Back to you guys.
Just want to say thank you.
Back to you. My nephew just graduated high school up in Omaha, and they recognized the veterans right before that. And there's not many of us. Very few of us stood up. It was rather amazing to me how few of us have actually served. So, guys, thank you very much. It was an honor to serve with all three of you. It really was.
Yeah, thank you. And before we go, is there anybody that you want to shout out? Anybody you want to recognize? Anybody you want to say hello to? The floor is yours to, recognize whoever or just let everybody know anything that they need to know right before you get out.
Well, hey, appreciate it. I saw Lynn Kelly's on here. She's my classmate. I invited all my classmates. I told them about it. I don't know how many of them actually took me up on it, but I'll give a shout out to Lynn for that. And the second book I dedicated to my late pastor. He was my childhood pastor. He passed away. And I also, the second book, Christmas by the Clouds, it's some people that I think have really very important to spread the gospel of Jesus. And I highlight them in my second book. Scott Kohler, my nose gunner, and from RF4s. We went through training together. 2 lieutenants flying around West Texas at 500 feet, the speed of heat. It's amazing. Didn't know we're too stupid to be scared, but I'll say Scott Kohler, and he's a great individual. I don't know if he's watching or not, but I'll make a call out to him and all my bros and the few gals that I flew with. If y'all listen in, anybody I served with, guys, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure, and it's been an honor to serve with all of you.
Thank you again for coming. I mean, we appreciate it. If there's ever anything we can do to help, we tell everybody that comes on and everybody that tells their story with us, you're part of the family. When the next book comes out, if you want to promote it, all you have to do is reach out. We can bring you on. You can talk about it. If something changes where you're able to get this one published a little bit sooner than you thought, let us know. We'll advertise it on the podcast. Anything we can do to help you, anything that we can do to see veterans succeed is what we're here to do. And just again, thank you for telling your story. Thank you for your service, and we really appreciate having you on today.
Same here. I can't tell you. Really appreciate it. Been a lot of fun. No, I appreciate it. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, guys. Got a great show here.
Appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on though.
Hold ahead.
On. Yeah, see, accountability is what senior enlisted NCOs do, not officers. You said by the end you would have thought of something that we could do to make our podcast better. I just thought about that.
Yeah, all right. You put me on the spot here, and damn it, so I'm going to come up with an answer. You got your little your hot seat. You got everything. Grab you a book. One of you grab a book that you say, I'm going to read this book. Now, it doesn't have to have pictures in it, but if it has pictures, that's a bonus. But grab a book and say what you liked about it. And I'm going to give you the first one since I did this. I'm going to say The Right Stuff. Everybody should read The Right Stuff. It's not only a brilliantly written book, it tells you about the early days of the NASA and the astronauts and the culture of the test pilots at the time. And if you haven't read The Right Stuff, you need to read The Right Stuff. So that's my challenge. They just have you a little book segment where somebody has to do a book report and about a book you loved and to tell your audience why they should read this book.
Nice. And Al, you can't watch the movie and then tell us about the book, okay?
Movie does not count. You got to be
cheating.
The book.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I've not read the book The Right Stuff, so I will do that, but I've seen the movies and even the TV series they have, but I am going to read your book and do a report each week when we open the show just to try to get that word out there, because I told you I read most of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I love the Total Recall whole story arc and everything like that. And shout out to Mary Graniti, the best 25 Bravo ever, White Sands Missile Range 2nd Engineer Battalion. Every year she would enter a contest where she would write some kind of crazy science fiction. And one time I was included as a character. I think I was a kind of a Han Solo character. So hats off to you for sharing your story. Can't wait to read the book. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Choate, call sign Coyote.
Good. Thank you, sir. Look at that, Ty. Look, now you get to read a book and you get to do book reports. It's all the stuff that Al hates to do.
I'm excited for Al to read The Right Stuff and do his book report, because
I'm reading this book. I'm reading this book first. I don't even read books, but I'm reading this one.
All right, so I'm gonna follow directions and I'm gonna read The Right Stuff, and then you guys can just fill me in on his book, but I'll get back and read his book because I'm gonna follow directions. Yeah. I'm good at that.
Oh, I'm a little defiant.
Kinda. I'm a little defiant. That was awesome, though, man. I like that we're able to bring on people that have done so many different interesting things. Right? It's very interesting to see all of the people that we've talked to, or people we've even served with, right? We all did certain things in the military, and then when we get out, people go in to do different things, and you kind of go, what? I'm sure there's people that look at this for us and they're like, wait, what are they doing? Like, yeah, like you didn't know everything about me. And there's things that people want to do, and I hope that the stories that our guests tell and seeing what they're able to do inspires people to understand and know that you don't have to know how to do it right now, but you can always learn how to do something new. So even if you think it's a possibility, the best thing to do is get started. The worst thing you can do is continue to think about it. You just need to do it. So that would be the one message and challenge that I would give to everybody out there is, if you're thinking about doing something, there's never going to be a perfect time to do it. The best time to start is now. And you don't have to have it all figured out. That's what they call learning, right? You're going to have to fail in order to get better. So start now, ask friends, get support, reach out to us. We'll help you with some new shit. We always like doing things we don't know how to do. And I tell you what, we'll help you jack it up the whole way and then figure out how to make it better. But, the best thing you can do is start something new to get some excitement, especially for everybody out there that struggles with that transition. Find something that's going to make you excited and go do it. I think that's my 2 cents for the day.
That's a good dollar's worth right there, bro.
Yeah, that's a good solid dollar worth. That was good, Matt. I like that. Well, I don't know where that came from. That's good.
Bro, I don't know. I feel like Will Ferrell in that movie when he blacks out in Old School and he answers all the questions and he's like, "Is everything all right?" That's what just happened to me.
Yep.
Very nice. Well, it worked. I agree. Well, future guests we got coming up next week, Byron Davenport, Navy veteran, author of Fulfilling Her Dream. It was just a movie that premiered. This movie is about his mother, who passed away of multiple sclerosis, basically being his shield through growing up with a abusive father, and it kind of drove him through his life. And then his mother died of multiple sclerosis, and I witnessed this guy on his healing journey come through the Tomball VFW when we were having one of the cook-offs, one of the big concerts there. He was just filming, and I remember just seeing the joy on his face. So, I don't know him that much, but I do know that he's full of the joy of life, and we try to tell interesting stories here on the show. So that's who we'll have on next month.
Al, quick question.
Yeah.
Have you fucked up any more meat?
Nope. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna start practicing some more. I'm gonna practice this weekend. My
So
wife's
you
already-
haven't practiced since you fucked up?
No, I've been practicing. I just
But
haven't.
cooking hamburgers for Kinsey don't count, bro. I'm talking about real barbecue.
We barbecue in this house. We don't cook just hamburgers, okay?
Are
First
you
of all,
sure?
I'm
Are
positive.
you sure? Because what you showed us that one day you made looked worse than hamburger, bro.
It was delicious. No, that was bad. I haven't done that again. So
Oh man.
I'll be
I
ready.
don't even care if we win. We're just gonna hang out,
Have a good time. We're gonna submit some food. Not gonna sure if it's gonna be edible, but we're gonna get it to the judges, and they're gonna decide what they feel.
As long as that box is a 8 to a 10, you gonna get some points,
Hey, you know what I mean?
right? I don't know. I'm just talking shit at this point. I have no idea what that means. But
I'm in it for the experience, man. Like I've done so many of these cook-offs, and just to be there and be able to do it with you guys is gonna be fun as hell.
I'm gonna be honest and be disappointed if we don't do well. We need to do really good. We need to egg up the OCD.
Go ahead and prep your disappointment. Go ahead and get your
No,
disappointment.
we need to amp up the OCD and start writing shit down and become, dictators and authoritarians. This is what needs to happen. You know what I mean?
We got it. We'll be all right.
I love your confidence, Matt.
Oh, I'm
All
not
right, bro.
confident. I'm just saying we need to get a lot of OCD if we're going to make this shit happen. Let's
got
just focus on the Thursday night party. How about that? Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I'm looking forward to. Follow up, Christopher Coyote Choate. It's available now on Amazon Books, Defiance Publisher. Buy that thing before Defiance Publishing shuts down, and then check out all his new stuff at his website that we put in the comments there. Hey, I think we're going to start a new segment, Al. Matt and I kind of talked, and we're going to go back to one show a month. It's just going to be us three. because we've not had a chance to talk about shit that's going on in our life. And I think from a lot of the feedback we've got from the platoon, the Triple Threat Vet platoon, they really want to know more about us and what makes us do this. So I think one show a week we'll start with ourselves, and we're going to let the platoon.
Let's go back.
We're going to let the platoon send us in some topics. So this is all because of Miss Harris. So she kind of has been a booking agent for us, getting us into new places. So I guess you're going to find out more about our hero Matt Johnson and Ty Cobb coming up in the next couple of months. Looking forward to that. Matthew, take us out of here, bro.
I'm just going to reiterate what I said already. If you're thinking about doing something and you think it's going to be meaningful and beneficial to you, stop thinking about it and just go freaking do it. If you need help or you need an idea or you want someone to tell you that you should just effing do it, reach out to us. You can DM us, you can instant message us, you can freaking email us, you can get onto a show and tell us you want to have this idea to do some shit, and then we'll reach back out to you. But just go do it. The best thing you can do, any lolling mind, the best thing you can do for that is give it something to be inspired, and that's what you need to go do. Shout out to Becky, Cole, Sierra, my family. Love you guys. Thanks for supporting me and allowing me to do this on Thursday nights. It's definitely something that is a highlight of the week, and I just love being here. So for everybody out there, like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends. If you want to be on the show, reach out. We just love doing this, and we can't wait to continue doing it for as long as we can. We don't care as long as you want us to do it. We're going to do it as long as we can do it, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. So I'm very grateful, and I will see you guys next week.
How do you follow that up? No, Matt said it all. I don't really have much. I will just, like I say every week, check on somebody this week, call up one of your battle buddies or battle sisters, and just check on them. Make okay. It doesn't take long to send a text message. Tell somebody you're thinking about them and you love them, and just reach out to somebody. Make sure you're checking on your people this week. Love y'all. Thanks for showing up.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.